Hello there. This is Kate Byfield from ArtSpeaks Studio in Dallas, Texas, and this is your ArtSpeaks Studio moment. Today we are going to talk about the traits that are common to artistic and creative people. At the beginning of every class, I try to get acquainted with all my students. And so I ask them for a bit of information about themselves, what they do in their lives, what kinds of interests they have, and in particular, why they took the course. In most cases, people tell me that they have always been interested in art. They have been a person who has been crafty, maybe taken some art classes in the past. Occasionally, it's somebody who has never done any art before and just wants to try and see how it goes. I was a psychology major in college and went on to get a master's degree in counseling and worked for a while as a college counselor. So I guess it's not surprising that I am interested in the kinds of traits and characteristics and personalities of other people who also are interested in art. So I thought for this week's ArtSpeaks Studio moment, I would share some of what I have observed. Every list starts with creative as one of the characteristics of being an artist. It is not surprising it's on my list. But how do we know what it takes to be creative and whether we are creative? Do you have a history of wanting to try out new ways of approaching things when you have a reason to take on a project or a task? Or are you usually content doing it as it has been done before? When you realize that something needs to be done, but you have never done it before, do you look for someone with experience to take it on? Or are you likely to see it as an opportunity to try something new? Do you like to make things? This is particularly relevant if you like to figure out how to do it rather than following someone else's pattern or recipe. Have you had a career in a creative occupation that calls for developing unique solutions to unique problems? These careers are often in some kind of engineering, software design, strategic planning, or artistic field. Have you worked in or studied any of the visual or performing arts? Did you enjoy those fields? Artistic people tend to be curious about all aspects of the world around them. They want to understand how things work and why things are the way they are. Are you always asking questions about the world? As a child, did you drive people crazy with all your questions? Are you always seeking further information? When you hear about something new, are you motivated to do further research? Are you interested in how things fit together in terms of systems and processes? Artists are called upon to create something new, novel, and that didn't exist in the world before, rather than copying what is already there. This ability to take those risks that you might fail, because if it's new, it's likely to fail, and keep going despite those challenges and despite all the battering of the ego, is something that is very common to an artist, because you cannot create new art, and I'm not talking about copying somebody else's photograph or painting. That challenge is very risky and takes a lot of courage. To see if you are someone who has this ability to be flexible and open to experience, answer these questions. Are you able to readily adapt to new situations? Do you relish the opportunity to try new foods, travel to new places, meet people who live very differently than you do? Are you happier following established processes or creating new practices and approaches? When things go wrong, do you get upset and shut down? Or do you look for plan B and plan C and plan D? Although artistic types often enjoy other people's company, most often they work alone. And if they work collaboratively, each person needs to be a self-starter and self-motivated and able to defend their own positions. Artists need to be independent. They need to not be so concerned about other people's opinions and have that impact what they want to do and how they want to say what they're trying to say. Here are some questions that relate to the independence of artists. Do you second guess yourself a lot? Do you ask other people for their advice and worry if your inclinations are not in line? When others disagree with your plans, are you willing to change them even if you really feel differently? When someone clearly doesn't like your artworks, do you alter them? Do you look for what is in style or what will sell before you choose what to wear or what to paint? Being an artist takes courage in order to withstand the opinions of others and the judgments of others and ourselves, and to have the creativity, the flexibility, the adaptability, the openness to experience and curiosity, and independence to make new art. This is not an easy thing to do, and not every personality is adapted to that. If you do have those characteristics, it's much more likely that you will stick with it if you find a medium that engages you and if you feel like you have something to say. The artistic personality is very interesting. It doesn't mean that you are not left-brained as well as being right-brained. It only means that you have the ability to be independent and curious and flexible in order to make art that is engaging for you and hopefully for other people. Of course, all of these traits are general and not specific to any particular person. You may not recognize yourself in these descriptions, or at least not in all of them, and still be an extremely successful and enjoyable artist. But I thought it would be helpful if I shared what I had noticed about the people who seem to continue making art after taking art classes. And in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video and happy painting.